I show up as myself. Some days I wear makeup. Some days I'm pale face out there. Some days I have on real lounge. Some days I'm dressed up. I show up in authenticity, and I feel like for that reason, I've been able to add that value into the atmosphere, the conversation with my guests. Because, as you know, guests come on and sometimes they're nervous.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do. You nervous too. Like,
Exactly.
a lot's going on. But I have never, and I mean this ain't even a tutu, but tutu. I've never had a guest come and be like, oh, this was not it. Or they just unresponsive after.
Yeah.
Most people that come, if not everyone, is like, this was fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of good time with you, and I feel like our conversation was good, And so I think showing up as myself, being transparent, even when it's uncomfortable, depending on the topic, I think that's how I add value into my content, into my podcast.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
Thank you for tapping in to another episode of Flavor&Flow. Today we sit down with Marissa Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel.
She built a platform rooted in honesty, growth, and real conversation, covering everything from mental health to taxes, entrepreneurship, and Black excellence. This conversation is about what it truly takes to build a podcast from the ground up and the responsibility that comes with having a voice. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marissa Hornsby. I am the founder and host of the Pretty Candid Podcast here based in Austin, Texas. A little about me. I am a true Austinite. Been here 33 years. Right. I'm also a mom of one darling daughter. Some of my favorite things to do outside of podcasting, I love to travel, try new food spots, but most importantly, I like to connect and network with like-minded people. So if that's podcasting, other creative content, musicians, that's my jam. So thank you.
Thank you, Marissa, for joining us here at Flavor&Flow. We really do appreciate you for giving us some of the time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh, nothing. It's a blessing. I really do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So for anybody who is like meeting you for the first time, how would you describe the Pretty Candid Podcast to them?
I would say the Pretty Candid Podcast is a lot of things, but most importantly, it's a safe space, right? So the Pretty Candid Podcast is for honest conversation, whether you're just an everyday person, you're an entrepreneur here in the city, or you're an artist. So it's definitely a podcast more so for real life, real stories, you know. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we entertain, we might even get a little emotional on there. But all in all, it's just a place for honest and clear communication, I would say.
Okay, bad. So how did you come about making this podcast?
Okay, so the Pretty Candid Podcast, honestly, a lot of people don't know. I had topics on paper probably for about a year and a half before I started. Around that time, I was watching a lot of different content podcasts, and it seemed very curated, very just kind of scripted, not very intentional. And so I really, like I said, wanted a safe space for honest conversation. I wanted people to be able to come in, no pretending, no perfect answers. It's just clear, intentional conversation with substance for viewers and listeners. And so I decided, well, hey, what am I going to name this thing? Hence the name Candid. And then from there, I did a lot of researching, finding studios. Shout out to Dawa Studios. And I just took off running, honestly. And from there, we just been rolling.
Okay, but was there a specific moment that kind of like pushed you?
I would say the specific moment that pushed me would be when I wrote out my first outline for the first episode.
Okay.
And I again, sat on that for a couple months.
Of course.
Yeah, I was scared.
How hard it is to actually plan that out.
To plan it out. And I remember, like, I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, well, either you going to do it or you going to think about it.
Of course.
And I said, you know what? All right, let's do it. And let's just see what happened. And the first episode, I had fun. I had so much fun. And it didn't feel like a job. It didn't feel like a moment. No anxiousness.
So what like, you say you had fun. So, like, what type of fun did you have into that?
My first episode, I talked a lot about how women need to come together more, right? So that was like one of the more topics that I talked about. I think the second topic that I spoke on is just like motherhood, dealing with religion and family, things like that. So it was a lot of stuff that I could relate to, or I know people at home could. And so when I was recording it at the time, I kept saying like, are we really doing this? Like, you know? And at the end, I remember like, I was like, well, I want to clap for myself. Like, this is fun and energetic. And so I think just being able to really hone in on those topics and have another guest there, because I had a guest my first episode, it meant a lot to me. And like, obviously I felt accomplished, but more so because I was like, I think people are going to be able to like really relate to this. And it's a real conversation. It's not like anything scripted or anything. Because I did not go off the outline, by the way, so we know.
You never really do, because I would say it's there for show. But to be honest, things don't exist. Ideas don't really exist, and they really don't have no power unless you write it down first.
Man, you have to. You have to.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to follow that outline. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point is, hey, I did it. I envisioned this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
This is kind of like what I'm going to go with.
Exactly.
Now you said your first or second podcast you had a guest?
My very first episode.
So it's funny you said that. So were you intending not to have a guest when you first started, or was it like...
So, shout out to my cousin. But at first I was like, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do this. And then I was like, I need a buffer. I need something that's like, if I'm a little off script, because I think at the time that's what I was worried about. Like you said, going off script. I got a gist for it, but I really don't know. And so first episode, totally intended to be by myself. And then I asked my cousin, and she was like, I like to talk about that, actually. So let's do it. And it just worked.
Okay.
So yeah.
And which topic was that one about?
This was all episode 1. Okay. So that's when we're talking about women not being mean girls, how to not be a mean girl, how to still thrive as a woman, right? Especially in your 20s and 30s. And then another topic we had was about religion versus spirituality, and kind of how religion and family kind of play into each other. Sometimes it gets a little sticky, so. Yeah.
That is a good topic. The generation of women now need to...
Man, we ain't going to go into that.
Okay, so what did you learn the hard way about creating content?
I learned the hard way that if you can only prepare so much. Okay. I want to say that after them first 5 episodes, I told myself, like, okay, this is how I'm going to do everything, right? Remember I told you about the outline? Yeah. No. It worked for a while until it didn't. And I felt like I was always trying to be, okay, I need my cue cards, I need this, I need that, right? And I wasn't being as intentional with me being prepared, right? Okay, versus nowadays, when I go into the studio, I got a gist of what I want to do. I know the topics I want to talk about, but I can't caption every topic. I can't sit there and, it needs to feel genuine and authentic. And so I think the hard lesson that I had to learn was you can only prepare so much, but also hone in on your authenticity and let that be your guide more than anything, I would say.
Because, your character kind of shows, you got to present that.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like, I guess you never can really prepare to be like the
You can't.
Show. Yeah.
You could kind of know, like I said, you could have a gist, you could have an outline in your mind. Yeah. And again, you could still, I believe in putting things on paper. However, you're not gonna be able to word for word it. Yeah. You might kind of lose yourself. You might kind of hone in a little bit more on other topics. But that's how it's supposed to flow. Yeah. I think that's that flow state that we all try to get to. So.
So is there
a podcast that, because I know you said sometimes you don't follow your outline. So was there one that you planned it out and it didn't go your way and you kind of like, dang, I need to.
I do have some podcasts that I never aired.
Okay, why? Even though you had somebody come, like,
absolutely.
So let's talk about that then. Let's talk about that. So one, you don't feel like you're wasting anybody's time when you don't put it out versus you, like, you know.
So I would say I don't want to waste my viewer listener time.
Okay.
Right, and I think that's more so how I look at it. So for instance, there have been times where I'm like, okay, I got this entrepreneur, this guest coming in, whatever the topics are, and we're recording, and sometimes they feel gimmicky.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and so then I'm kind of realizing like, okay, it's not gonna work. So at that point, I'm gonna still carry on with the interview. I might even send the person, because I tend to send clips and all that after, so they can promote, do what they want. It won't be on my channel. You know, main reason being because I think that you have to be intentional in this world.
You really do.
And so if I'm giving you the topic and we're speaking about it and you kind of being real shady, real negative, you know, I don't need you to come in there, but I do need you to be authentic and genuine with me, and let's have a real conversation. So if that's ever not the case, I will not post it.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's most definitely fair. Because I know most people, when you're starting this game, you kind of like trying to get bits and pieces together.
Yes.
So it's like, I'm going to drop whatever I can get, or I'm going to interview whoever I can get.
And I think it's something to be said, and that's kind of what I think I worry about, is like, is my content what I would want to watch?
Yeah.
But also, is my content something that's like, the three things: is it relatable? Is it something that could generate a new perspective? Or is it something that's some sort of entertainment, right?
Right.
And so if we're not meeting those three pillars, it's kind of like, what am I doing it for? So yeah, I might have some studio time. I wish I could have really did this. And that kind of prompts you to go back to the drawing board and let me really have an intake form or something for my guests.
Yeah.
Let me really kind of generate something to make sure I'm meeting the people, coming across the people that I truly need to have on there, you know? So...
Well, that's funny, because now I want to ask you, so what do you think separates good content from bad content? Since we're talking about...
I love this question.
Yeah.
I believe that good content is something that can make a listener or viewer, like I said, learn something. They can feel seen or heard, right? Or they just gain a new perspective, something to really get their mind juices flowing, right? So, and with that, I think that it's important that with good content that the viewer or listener is getting to know you a little bit, right? Because we live in the times where like parasocial is a real thing. But bad content, I would say, is any content that doesn't have a clear purpose or clear intent, right?
I mean, so, okay, so...
So like, for example, right?
Right.
Anything that's like red pill content.
Okay.
That's, y'all, you really don't have a good point of view. You don't really have a lot of substance. You're more for the algorithm than you are for the people.
Okay.
You know, so to me, that's kind of how I separate good content versus bad. I feel like, honestly, it take a lot to make content already. So who am I to tell you like, oh, this is good and this is bad, right?
Yeah.
But I can listen or watch something and kind of know like, oh, this is more gimmicky, kind of for the algorithm, you know? So.
Because, I mean, I think when it comes to good and bad content, like, it is, like, it's a sketchy topic. Because remember when I mentioned about the podcast or the radio station I was listening to in Austin. Now, I'm sure, just looking off their followings, I'm sure there is a lot of people who are stimulated by the ignorancy that I heard on the channel. You know what I'm saying? So for those people, that might necessarily mean good content, right?
True.
So, but to me, it's bad content because obviously you didn't use no references when you
No real facts, no real research.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you didn't follow up on the research. So I think it's important for us as creators to not only, of course, look at good and bad content in what we put out, because people are looking at us. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have your daughter, right? So it's up to us to give information that's factual.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Stimulate people's minds.
Correct.
And not only stimulate your mind, but put you in a state where you're able to go and create your own thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I think too, when you create content, especially when it has to do with a specific thing where you have to do the research and facts, I think it's important not to be biased.
Of course. You know
even if you truly are, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Don't showcase that.
It is. And that's the thing, because we're here to paint our picture. You know what I'm saying? We're here to give you an understanding of how we operate or what we do. I'm not necessarily telling you, hey, this is what you need to follow. I'm here to open up your mind so you can go look
for yourself.
For your information. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It kind of reminded me of a question. I forgot where I heard it from, but I'll be asking people, and the question is, how do you know the difference between your own thoughts and a thought that was planted in your mind?
I think a thought that's planted in my mind, I have to have, especially for me, because I'm a visual person, so anything audio, video, right? But if it's something that I've been thinking, a lot of times stuff that I come up with on my own is stuff I've been pondering about, and I've been trying to figure out either the answer to it or a why or anything like that. Now, I do feel like when it comes to any type of media, music, podcast, whatever, a lot of times I think it's just me hearing something that'll kind of put something in my mind, versus it's weird if it's me, if it's self-generated, I feel like it's something I read, or two, I kind of already been thinking about it for a while, you know?
And that's what it is, because most things, to know is our original thought, we have to go research it, we have to go visually see it. And I asked that question because, with all these social media apps that we use, we have an algorithm.
Yes.
And just because we feel something, that doesn't make it right.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And these algorithms are feeding off of how we feel.
You on to something. You are on to something.
So it's feeding us how we feel. And if you don't know yourself, which most of us don't, you know what I'm saying? Because even me, myself, I'm 35. I'm still learning about myself. Right?
Understandable.
So when you don't have that self-awareness and you're feeding into this stuff, now these feelings that we don't what are necessary, they're valid.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it right.
But now they're more present.
Exactly.
Now it's really on my mind.
And now here it is, Instagram, TikTok.
Everything you scroll.
Exactly. And it's giving me, they want to keep me on there, so it's only feeding me how I feel.
Yeah.
So now I'm not necessarily using my own thoughts, because they're feeding me how I feel.
I'm only thinking about what I hear and see.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that question.
That's a really good question. I like that.
It's generations. Oh, man.
It low-key, sometimes we feel like we are doomed. I'll be like, bro, this algorithm is out to get us.
Okay, so with that being said, let me ask you this. So people say podcasts are dead or oversaturated. How do you feel about that, being that you are doing your own podcast?
I think that podcasts are not dead.
Okay.
I think that each podcast has its own specific niche, or they just have their own mission that they're trying to accomplish, right? Now, I do think if you are, I'm going to keep saying this because it really matters, if you are unintentional, or if you don't have a clear mission or thought process for your podcast, I think that you can go through it really quick and it starts to become a dead space. It's not liberating. It's not a good influence. Nobody's learning anything, especially if it's not entertaining, right? So again, those pillars. So I feel like podcasts are not necessarily dead. I think it's the content that they produce that can make it get that way,
for sure.
Right? And it's kind of case by case. You might have a podcast that starts off very high up, right? And they kind of talking about the usual, 50-50 and men versus women this and who this and that. The stuff that's an eye roll, like we just did. But then all of a sudden, the viewers that might have latched on at first, they might be somewhere different in their life. So that same content don't always apply, right?
Yeah.
And it's not stimulating as much as they would have hoped. So then now we dropping real fast. And now we dead versus something that's a little bit more that person's speed, like I said, liberating. Because you got to think about your viewers. Not everybody is in a good space.
Yeah.
But then you have those people that are, and they're trying to continue that. And so they want to digest good content that's good for them, good for the soul, I guess we could say, right? So I do think that, like, some podcasts, y'all did. I'm gonna be real. Y'all did. Like, don't nobody want to say that I said it. Y'all are. Yeah. But I do think that in general, do we all need to put the mics down? I think absolutely not. I think pick more mics up, you know? So that's how I feel about it.
So how do you make sure that your podcast brings value versus the noise that you don't want to be?
Yeah, so I would say I think I bring value mainly, and it sounds cliche, I'm prepared, but I'm not scripted, right? But also, I show up as myself. Some days I wear makeup, some days I'm pale face out there, you know. Some days I have on real lounge, some days I'm dressed up. I show up in authenticity, and I feel like for that reason, I've been able to add that value into the atmosphere, the conversation with my guests. Because, you know, as you know, guests come on and sometimes they're nervous. Yeah. You don't know what to do. You nervous too. Like, you know, a lot's going on. But I have never, and I mean this ain't even a tutu, but tutu. I've never had a guest come and be like, oh, this was not it. Or they just unresponsive after. Yeah. Most people that come, if not everyone, is like, this was fun. Yeah, I had a lot of good time with you, and I feel like our conversation was good, you know? And so I think showing up as myself, being transparent, even when it's uncomfortable, you know, depending on the topic, I think that's how I add value into my content, into my podcast.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
So that gonna make me ask a random question.
Go ahead, I like randoms.
Because, so how important is it for you to stay out of your comfort zone and walk into the unknown?
It's very. I try to actually do that every day. Yeah. Being on camera is not easy. Right? And I want to say even more as a black woman, it's not.
Yes.
So I feel like jumping off the porch just into this was already like a lot of like, oh, you breaking generational curses, right? But I do think that if I stay uncomfortable, I'll always reach new heights. I think if I kind of stay complacent and just very much in my comfort zone, I'll never reach all the true audiences I want to reach. I'll never get to highlight the people that need it, you know? And so I think in my mind, one thing I try to always keep in mind is that look at where your feet are now, right? And then just keep imagining where your feet could go, right? And who you can help along the way, who can help you along the way. And don't be scared of any outcome, whether it's good or bad, because that's just setting me up for the good. You know what I mean? So I want to say I think that's how I'm able to do it. I think so, yeah. Yeah.
So since you brought your boyfriend here, have you had any cases where you...
Any cases?
Any cases where you felt uncomfortable working with somebody or kind of was like, this is a red flag type of situation? Since you are a black woman.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
You know what I will say, I think has been something uncomfortable or like just a weird kind of connotation around the Pretty Candid Podcast is that people seem to think that I'm going to be like this replacement Wendy Williams or something and they could come on here and just, it's a difference in letting it all out.
I think that's a compliment.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, not because of her character, but to the stature that she was, for people to compare you to that.
I think it's a compliment until you send me the topics and I know that what you kind of bringing me is garbage disposal worthy.
So you allow them to give you content?
Okay. A lot of times how I do it is I'll be like, give me 1 or 2 topics, right? Because I try to have at least 6, right? And I'm already knowing what mine are going to be. And so I do that because number one, it let me know what your true intention is when you come on here, right? And two, it let me know kind of where your mind is at, you know? So I've had people, like I had one guy reach out to me and he was like, I want to talk about grief and what it's like to kind of build yourself up after that, you know? And we haven't aired it yet. But then I had somebody else tell me how they want to talk about the dynamic of being like the second baby mother. That's not...
That is not...
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's drama.
I need to kind of pick you a little bit to kind of know what we doing.
Okay, so when she wanted that topic, what initially did you pick her for?
I picked her to talk about mom grief and mom guilt and how, because she's a mom of 3. And so, and you know, obviously I don't know you, but I want to get to know you, know how you are as a mother. But from what I've seen and the message she puts out through social media.
You want to get back at your baby daddy or something.
Yeah, but at the time, it wasn't given that.
Yeah.
So when I messaged her and we talked, she was like, the first topic, great. She wanted to talk about how it is like watching your kid grow up. That's relatable. Okay. The second topic, being the second or third, that's, and you know, a lot of people would argue with me like, oh, people can relate to that. Yeah.
They can, but it's low vibrational.
It's low vibrational, and we want to uplift our black queens and kings, and that, to me, that wasn't the way to do it, and it was going to get emotional for her.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so I just felt like, I'll come back when you're a little, you know, more in your heel state, and we'll see what we can come up with, you know.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because sometimes I have guests where I'm like, either the scheduling can't get right, which is a red flag to me. Once the scheduling, like once we have 2 moments where we can't get right, let's come back. Something's off. Yeah. And it don't mean it's off with you or me. It just might not be the right divine timing, you know. Or if you shooting me too many topics that sound real personal, I can't.
Man, it's crazy because I tried to like I wanted to get on a personal level because I do want people to introduce themselves. I want people to tell their story.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't want to get on a personal drama level. So I kind of like I haven't, which is a good idea. I think that it's something I could pick up on. Kind of let people give me topics.
Yes.
Because it is important to see what they are really on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I tend to, all of my questions tend to come off of research of the person that I'm about to do my podcast on. And then sometimes everything that I do, I have a reason for doing it behind it. Right. So one thing that I want to do is start my own book club.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm thinking I'm gonna do it through this. So a lot of books that I read, I ain't gonna say a lot, but the books that I've been reading here recently, I tend to take something out of it because most of the books that I get are self-development.
Oh, okay,
and
cool,
I kind of form questions off of those.
I like that.
Yeah, just like the question I asked you, how do you know if your thoughts yours versus your own?
Yeah, I like that. That was kind of threw it out there.
Yeah. So, and then there's another question that I've been asking women. I don't know if you heard a book, The Way of the Superior Man.
No.
Okay, so it's kind of like what Think Like a Man should have been, but Think Like a Man is giving game to women and men. So that book did more harm for our community than good. But The Way of the Superior Man is what that book should have been. And there's a topic on there, and they really didn't ask the question, but the topic. Well, I'm asking in the form of the question, but it's like, do women really want men to place them as the number one thing in their lives?
I think I want to not be the number one thing, right? I think I definitely want to be a priority. I feel like I always put myself first in anything, whether that be literally anything, right? I'm a mom, but if I don't think about myself first, me thinking about her second is not, you know? So I would say when it comes to relationships and that dynamic, I think that I want more people to realize, like, the number one thing in your life should be like your relationship with you and God, you as a man, your family. Yeah. And I come into that, right? Especially if we're in the space of making a family, coming into partnership, whatever that is, right? But I do think that there are some women out there that they gotta be the sun and the moon, you know? And I'm not gonna say it's just younger women. I know women 15 years my senior that they feel like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just more so from your experience. So if you've been a woman you didn't seen the highs and the lows of a relationship and kind of have seen the middle ground too, you could be a little bit more understanding and understand that like that man is putting himself first, but that don't mean that I'm not a priority.
Exactly.
Same thing for a woman, because I think especially me in my case, right? So I'm always in contact with people. I'm always busy. I'm always doing something. So it would be easy if I come across a man who believes in the sun and the moon theory for him to feel like, oh, I'm not a priority.
Yeah.
Or you don't care for me how you care for your podcast, things like that. Luckily, my boyfriend's super supportive. He believes in me having anything I want, you know.
For sure.
But I do think that's something that I wish more women could understand. Like, just like you would put yourself first, that man got to put himself first, and the love doesn't tarnish because he's doing that, you know? So,
of course, God first, then your purpose second.
Yes.
Then family.
And family is third,
falls into family, you know what I'm saying? Because men who prioritize women tend to have them on that pedestal, and it can come off as desperation.
Or lustful.
Exactly. There's so many things, because I don't think women understand, like, because I had women say yes, you know what I'm saying? And then I kind of, when they said yes, I kind of changed the question for them. I'd be like, so if you had a son right now, you telling me the most important thing you would want your son to be worried about is a woman?
Hello?
And they'd be like, no.
No, right,
like,
yeah.
Like, yeah.
But truth be told, they might not say it, and I might be speaking for them, but I'm going to do it. They meant that, for them.
Yeah, of course.
But when it came to their own, it's like, well, no, I wouldn't. But what's the difference?
Of course.
You know what I mean? So,
but it's like, sometimes you got to see where people's heads are at.
No, yeah. I think, now I will say, though, I can't negotiate on not being a priority.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's one thing.
Obviously, you got to be a priority. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's so many different type of relationships going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? However you want to move, you move. You know what I'm saying? But make sure your significant other or others or whatever is a man, woman, or whatever.
Right.
Make sure you prioritize them. But you can't prioritize them to the point where God is not first.
Man.
Because that's your first sin. You know what I'm saying? So if God isn't the first person before anything in your purpose second, then it's bound to fail.
And I'm going to double back off that. I feel like if y'all don't have God in the dynamic at all,
of course,
you know, so, because you could honor God and you could put him first, but if your significant other put him fourth on their list, well, damn, now we got a problem,
exactly.
you know, so I like that question. That was good.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like I said, when I get into my zone, that's what I kind of like be hitting people with. But I that's why I was like, I never thought about asking people their topics, which I think I might jack that from you.
Pocket. Yeah, put it in your pocket.
But because that honestly would tell me kind of like what's on their mind.
I like to pick people's brain, and it kind of separates the people from that are serious and that they're gonna come in a certain way versus the people they're gonna play.
Okay.
You know, so to me, I feel like it, because you're gonna get people. Oh, give me a week. You ain't gonna hear from them at all.
Okay, so back on topic.
Right. Well, look, we having fun.
Back on topic. So, you starting your podcast, did you find it easier renting a space versus kind of like building your own? I know you say you eventually you was thinking about building your own in your personal living area.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, what is your aspect on as far as finding a rental space for a podcast, building your own, like, what advice could you give somebody who want to start?
Well, I would say, number one, I think either or is fine, right? I think it's more so I think it's where you're at in your podcast journey and where you see yourself in your podcast journey, right? So I think when most people start out, they're looking for either like some type of studio time somewhere that's granted, or like they want to run out of space. And early on, I think it's really important in a podcast, don't give yourself so many factors that could either go against you or make you uncomfortable, right? When it comes to just the logistic part. So I think renting a space is fine because you often, more than not, get to network more. You get to come across either different producers or spaces and learn more different skills, things like that. But I do think it's something to be said for having an in-home studio or building your own space wherever it's at. More so just because, that provides more long-term control.
Yeah.
And you can kind of not have to worry about everything because, hey, it's here.
Yeah.
I can walk up in here. I got the key. I don't have to worry about nothing,
Yeah.
So I don't think one is better than the other. I don't think there's anything wrong with having one or the other. I know some podcasts, they do both. So because it's like on one hand, sometimes you might not have the energy to record, but knowing you got that appointment and you got to be there and you paid for it too, that's gonna give you that get up and go. Whereas some people, especially if like we talked about, you're introverted, you kind of want to be in your mastermind in your space, that might work for you. I think it just is more so where you see yourself in the journey and where you want to be. That's all. Yeah.
I do understand that. And like I spoke on earlier, how I did my research when it came
to
find a place, and the hourly wages are just out of control. It's like, damn.
They know.
Like, I seen $250 an hour.
An hour.
I'm like, nigga, that's an Airbnb for a whole day.
And they don't even want to edit your shit.
Exactly.
They don't even want to edit it.
What am I really paying you for? You know what I'm saying? Like, even $40 to me seems kind of steep.
I feel like anything over 60 is kind of crazy. But I think we in that industry in that time where people know that people want to have these connections and communications at podcasts, and so they kind of taking advantage. They
are taking advantage, but it's easy. Like, if I had some real fucking money to invest some shit in, it's easy to fucking, like, somebody can take over. Like,
yes.
All I have to do is get a place like this, fill the rooms up, small areas, little chairs, and everything, and I charge $100 a day. $80 a day. At least I gave you the whole day.
I got you the whole day.
The whole day.
You could have stopped, started, and still did your thing.
It's still there. You can leave, go get your lunch, come back.
Come back, still recording.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Then you do like the access pass, kind of like how they do 5-10 days. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to speak that over you. You never know what can happen.
I'm telling you.
You never know.
I'm telling you, and give them like a green room so you can do short films and stuff too.
Yeah, commercials.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you have everything in like one place. I like that. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta find a grant.
Hey, I'm telling you, I like to work together.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because that goes to my next question: is how important is it collabing with other people?
Collaboration is huge.
Especially, and not only just collaborating with other people, because I know we have to find guests to do the job, but how important is it also collaborating with competitors?
I believe that. Oh, that's a 2 for 1. Okay. So, let me start off. I think collaborations are super important, right? I have done a couple, and I feel like it speaks to you reaching new audiences, networking with different people, meeting people, potential guests, all those type of things, right? I do think collaboration is best when you are with like-minded people.
Yes.
Y'all kind of have a goal in mind. Y'all are organized, and y'all see that go through all the way to the end, right? That's a successful collaboration, which is important. I do think that a lot of people are intimidated to compete with their competitor, but if I'm being... Do I want to say that?
Yes,
man, say it. So, ain't no competition in nothing. Ain't no competition. When I say it's so much room at the top, y'all act like it's closed doors at the top and you got to skate to get in. That's not the case.
Bro, my personal feeling is if you see me as competition, I already won.
I already won. And guess what? I thought we could collab.
Exactly.
You thought, so I won and I don't know. You know,
So, that means, because if it's to the point that, no, I don't want to collab with you, that means you fear me.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's put a wrench in it, right?
Assuming that you did the work.
Assuming you did the work. However, I do think that sometimes there's no space for collaboration. So what I mean by that is, like, if let's say I reach out to you, right? And I'm like, I want to come on the pod. We should collab, da da da. And you go to my page and you do not resonate. It does not align with you. At that point, you're not fearful of me. You just don't feel like it aligns for us to collab.
To a certain degree. Now, yes, if you're getting on that aspect, yes, it all just depends on what content that you're bringing.
It's
out.
sticky.
But I'm saying, like our content. You know what I'm saying? Our content is very informative. You know what I'm saying? We're not just putting out bullshit.
Right.
So my thing is, for somebody who I wouldn't necessarily say we doing the Breakfast Club numbers.
We will, but yeah.
Of course, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we're doing the Breakfast Club numbers, but we have very respectable platforms where, you know, you can go in and be like, they actually giving some valuable information.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So for somebody to not want to collab with us, I feel like it's more on a intimidation.
Let me say something real quick. So the reason why that's funny that you saying that is that I had this happen about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Reached out, thought, oh, our stuff aligns. This would be great. I had a whole vision. I already wrote the outline. Wrote it before I reached out to them. And they let me know, oh, no, I don't do podcasts. Okay. I sat on that for a couple days because I wanted to know the why, but I'm not going to ask. But I wanted to know.
I ain't gonna bother you.
And so the first few times I was like, maybe don't align. You know, sometimes I got a potty mouth, but I'm saying the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's what it is, right? But then I started thinking, and I was like, oh, because it didn't cross my mind till actually he said it, and he was like, maybe because you're a podcast too. And I was like, I said, I thought we could come together. He's like, not everybody is kumbaya though.
But that's the problem. We all should be kumbaya.
We should.
If like that's the thing. Like when you come together, and you have unison. Then that's when the plan and the strategy can come.
It gets stronger.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of us competing on, hey, I'm releasing my shit every Saturday. It's like, no, you release your Saturday, I release mine Friday, we release mine's Monday, I release this. I have this amount of followings, you have this amount of followings. Let's combine those followings.
Let's make it.
Yeah, let's get something going. You know what I'm saying? So it's always like we're feeding each other. But then when you start to see me as competition, now it's like it's going to be a point in time where you see me.
Life is funny.
Yeah,
Life is so funny.
It's going to be a point in time when you see me. And then at that point, it's going to be like, am I going to hate? Am I going to let this go? Or am I going to reach out and be like, hey, man, yeah, I would do that interview with you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a point in time where, because, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's like, we are competing, so it's either you are incompetent in what you're doing, or you're in a position where you feel like I'm not as good as you. You know
I think that's really like, if we just gonna put it all the way on the floor, I think that's really what it comes to. At some point, you gotta have enough. I tell everybody, I'm the best podcast in Austin.
Yeah.
To others, do they think that? Maybe not. I don't care both times because I said so, right? I think when you feel like you lack, if you feel like you're not as confident because you lack, I think that's when that little sense of competition creeps in.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard for you not to only work with others, but I think it make it hard to work, period. And the reason being is you feel like you always gotta do the ante, you know? And if you always gotta do the ante up, then you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing to start with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do think collaboration is needed, especially in the Black creative space in the city. We need more of that. I would say to anybody who feel like, oh, I don't know, try. The worst you're going to get is a no response or a no.
Yeah.
And both times, you could always get a yes.
Of course.
You know? So, but I do think collaboration is needed, and it is huge.
I mean, honestly, it's so easy for niggas to slide into a woman's DM, but you don't want to hit somebody else up and be like, hey, let's do a collab.
Right. Y'all both got
let's do.
You know,
it's when you're trying to chase a woman, you hit that DM, but when it comes to you don't want to be like, hey man, can we collab? Can we?
Let's get something going. Yeah, and it's really that easy. And I think sometimes for people, they think they gotta have this ChatGPT format just all down to the T, and it's like some people want to know you a real person, and they just want to have a quick conversation, and that's how you lock in that collab. It's that easy. So hence this.
Thank you for bringing up ChatGPT.
Oh, here we go. I already know where this is going.
Thank you for bringing up ChatGPT. So Do you use AI to help you with any preparations as far, and not necessarily your podcast, I'm saying any aspects of life? Because you know the world is going into AI. It's like, it's a curse. But
Right.
it's to a point that I don't believe that we will be able to not bring AI into the foundation. You know what I'm saying?
I would say yes and no, right? So I'll start with the yes. The yes in the aspect of sometimes I'm sitting on 5 different types of content and I have to get it out, right? So in the time aspect of it, yeah, I might be like, okay, these are my captions, this is my bio, this is my description. Help me formulate this to have the impact just as strong, but still using my wording, and they'll kind of help me formulate it, break it down, make it shorter, make it longer, but make it make sense, right? No, in the aspect of I can't go. ChatGPT don't know me or my guests. I can't go there for the topics.
For sure.
I can't go there to build my authenticity. I can't do that. So, on one scale, do I believe in using it? Yeah, sometimes, and it's not all the time, but sometimes because it's like, hey, I gotta get to it. I need to have this tweaked, and it's only me. I don't have anybody else. But would I ever use it for anything else? No, because I just feel like it would take away from everything I've built. I pride myself on being a real person, a real woman through and through, a black woman at that. And so I feel like once I kind of leave it to AI to generate the stuff that's really in my head that I'm not spending time thinking with, I lost.
Okay.
I lost the plot. You know, so that's where I'm at with it.
That's real, because you ever heard of 19 Keys?
Mm-mm.
So there's this real nice brother. It's a podcast that I listen to. There's 3 podcasts that I listen to. Yours is added on to make it 4.
Yay!
I seen somebody else with somebody that you interviewed that I'm about to start listening to his, like the 2-hour lunch break.
Yes, shout out to Zeus.
So, yeah, I'm about to start listening to his now. But prior to y'all two, there was 3 podcasts that I listened to. And then there's one more I added on yesterday because I just met, it's an African guy. I forgot his name, but that's off topic. But 19 Keys of High Level Conversations, like my number 1 podcast.
I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, as a brother, he they call him Keys or 19, and he gets into depth about like all his conversations are high level conversations are thinkers, and he really interviews predominantly black folks. You know what I'm saying? But real strong brother. Real Street Stars. Yeah. I don't know if you heard of that. Real Street Stars.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. I know they're out in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some I do listen to them, but they tend to be a little bit more drama too.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah, you know because the one I recently watched was Dr. Sebi's son. It was funny because he got deported. And then he crossed back over the river to come do the interview with them.
What?
And I'm like, bro, you talking too
much. You putting too much.
Like, yeah, bro, I got the film. He pull up on the farm line. This nigga, you gonna get deported?
He felt invincible as hell. Ain't no way.
Yeah, so it was like I said, it's more entertainment stuff. Sometimes they have some real stuff on there, but I do watch that. And then Funky Friday with Cam Newton. I do his I do his podcast, and I do his podcast because like I said, I was studying podcasts. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, like I said, I want to stay away from the podcast era, but at the same time, I'm still in the line of it, right? So I kind of analyze different people, see what's going out there. And Cam Newton, he's a, like, shout out to Cam Newton, but he's a big kid. So it's like...
A big kid.
Yeah, he's a big kid. So it's like, I'm a big kid. My brother's a big kid. Like, even though my brother got a whole family and stuff, kids and everything, I got nieces and nephews, and like, but we're still like big kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, throughout the whole thing. So I kind of like... I like his character in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? His comment, he's very intellectual. You know what I'm saying? His comments be off the roof. And like, I love his interviews because his interviews, he be interviewing people that I've never realized. And I like to go look at people's interviewers too.
Right.
Because it brings, value. You never know what actually like hits a person. You know what I'm saying?
Points.
So, when I look at all of these people, and then like I said, I look at my own life and how I collab. I make sure, like, one, whoever I collab with, we're giving value.
Correct.
Because we ain't no superstars. You know what I'm saying?
Yet, but correct.
We ain't no celebrities. You know what I'm saying? We business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're like we're innovative thinkers. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So we have to show our generation, and not even just our generation, the generation under us, that there's more to what's going on than being an athlete, being a celebrity movie star.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
I believe that heavily.
Like, there's people with their own restaurants. You know, we got lawyers, we got podcasters. You know what I'm saying? We
authors, everything.
Exactly. We have all of these type of environments that you even did one with tax pros. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have so many avenues that we're in.
Yes.
And it's like we need to understand that and not just go to what they want us to go to. You know what I'm saying? Because half the time, most people, first thing they go to, I want to do rap music. And your whole reasoning to go behind it just so you can be high and pop pills.
Whole time, you really a poet. You really need to do a book.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, so
yeah. So like all of that, and it's crazy because it really kind of. I've been doing some research on my origin story, and it kind of goes because my mom is Panamanian. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I kind of like to. I was doing some history, going back into the family, like where we started, where we go. It's a rough patch, you know what I'm saying? Because even though me, my brothers, and my cousins and stuff, we are first generation Americans. You know what I'm saying? We don't know no Spanish because they didn't teach us it. So that's one of my goals, learning Spanish now. But we are first generation Americans. And on my mama, she's like second or third generation Panamanian, but they didn't start in Panama. You know what I'm saying? They actually started in her great grandmama and granddad came from Jamaica and Barbados.
Ain't that something?
You know what I'm saying? So
that's
it's like
crazy.
So it's like we're not technically, they're Panamanians, but it's like we're not necessarily Panamanians. Our ancestry is Caribbean.
Yes.
But then if you look back in history, they've been bringing Africans to those Caribbean islands since the 1500s. So it's like we're still originally from Africa. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's gonna do some real diving into to figure out like what
to pinpoint everything, which ancestor. You know it takes time.
Yeah, because it's like y'all niggas kind of like
did a muck.
So one of the places that I want to travel to is Ethiopia. Because they're the only country in Africa that hasn't been colonized. And they have the oldest version of the Bible, which is 88 books. The version that we have is 66. And that's the King James version. And it's crazy because I had this on peeking around on the King James history in general.
Period.
Right? So it's funny because I would ask people like, what version of the Bible that you have, right? And most people, the most popular version is the King James Bible. You know what I'm saying? It is in the black churches all over. You know what I'm saying? Now, my question to them when they answer what version of the Bible they have, I'd be like, so if Donald Trump said he had a version of a Bible, would you buy it?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So then I'll be like, so why do you own a King James version? You know what I'm saying? Because King James, on record, never had a slave, but he is the reason why the Europeans were able to use slavery to build America and capitalize off of slavery. So now, the person who, I wouldn't necessarily say written the Bible because they had 63 or 66 ministers translate the Bible, and whoever all came to the similar conclusion of what verse they were translating, that's what they put in the Bible. But the original Bible has 88 books. We only have 66. So you took out 22 books.
We need to know what's in that 22.
Exactly. So especially from a era who were oppressing and suppressing people of color. So it's like you have this King James version that's been idolized by black churches and most people of the world, and this man didn't even look at us as equals. You know what I'm saying?
That's something to think about, though.
Yeah.
Like that is something to think. What you think was in the other 22?
I can't say for certain, but if you go look in the Bible and you look in the back of it, you will see how they mapped out the journey. Predominantly, most of the map is in Europe. I think the other 22 books are in Africa.
Or even a step further, Africa and somewhere like Caribbean.
You know what I'm saying?
That would make sense.
Because the whole...
And that's why they took it out.
The whole confrontation is that everybody always be having is Jesus black or white? You know
Jesus
what I'm
is black for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there's nothing indicating that except for his hair. You know what I'm saying? In the Bible. Because it say he had wool hair.
Didn't it say it had olive skin?
I'm not 100% sure. You know what I'm saying? But the 22 books, that's not inside of there. You know what I'm saying?
So he could have had it.
He could have had
anything.
Yeah, he could have, you know what I'm saying? So, because to me it's like, this is a holy book, right? You hold this book to a certain standard, like to the fact that you sitting here, even which is a sin, but you sitting here having people swear on the Bible and fucking court and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you hold the Bible to a certain stature, but at the same time you picking books out of it.
You picking and choosing what to feed us.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
You gonna make me do some research because I want to know about the other 22 too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I was like, I want to go to Ethiopia because I mean, I won't be able to necessarily translate it, but I'll be there. I want to witness it, and then of course somebody be there to translate it for me. You know what I'm saying? But
we got devices. You probably could on your own.
I mean, I did the research because I wanted to get the original copy.
Right.
I did the point to the research that there was a researcher who's from Ethiopia who said like any copies of the Bible from Ethiopia is a fake. You know what I'm saying? And they had a list of books that you could buy that are copies of the Bible, not the full Bible, but certain books that weren't included in the actual Bible. But if you find a whole Ethiopia Bible translated in English, it's a fake.
Ain't that something?
That's what I'm saying.
Something to think about.
Yeah,
Look, they finna go throw that King James out, ain't they?
You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's not so more or less like getting into what's real or not in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe that he himself went in there and like changed the translation.
That's okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I can agree with that.
I don't want to say he changed the translation because, like I said, he himself had about 63 or 66 ministers who translated it for him. Whoever had the closest translation, that's the one they went to.
Right.
So there were certain guidelines that they followed. But that doesn't mean there was stuff he didn't want to be released out.
That's exactly.
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
exactly what's going on.
So to me, it's like, don't go over here and just find the Bible and be like, oh, it's different, you know what I'm saying, from the King James, because I'm sure every Bible in the world the blueprint is the King James Version.
Right,
you know
some type of variation of it.
But I'm not going to sit here and just blatantly buy a King James Version because, once again, would you buy a Bible from Donald Trump?
Absolutely not, I wouldn't.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so to me, it's like I wouldn't buy a Bible from that man either. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, actually.
Okay, so back on topic. So, when you're doing a podcast, a lot of people, I guess the end goal, which it may not be your end goal, you know what I'm saying, is to have somebody sponsor you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you look for or looking for? And if so, like, how would you like go about it? Are you like asking for sponsorship, or are you hoping somebody be like, hey, I want you to sponsor this for us? And are you being selective? Will you consider yourself being selective about your sponsorships versus just taking anything?
Right. So I think sponsorships are definitely something that is needed eventually along the way. I think if you just starting out, I think that's not something I would worry about right off bat. So like I'll reach year 2 in April. And so, sponsorships have been on my mind. And I believe, and I have a thing about getting out and getting it myself. It would be great if somebody noticed me, realized my content, and be like, hey, we should partner. That would be great. Yeah. But I don't go around just like, just hoping that's what's going to happen. So it's funny that we're talking about this. I literally just started doing draft emails, right? And so I got about 4 different kinds. And so some of them are for like food sponsors. Some of them are just like actual businesses. And so in each draft that I have I'm tailoring it to how I would want to speak to them in person. And so I haven't sent them yet. I plan on sending them. But my main thing, I think, for sponsorships is I think that the thing to keep in mind is you have to sell yourself a little bit, but you need to let them know who you are, right? You also need to already know about everything involving them. So like the brands that I have those emails for, the draft emails, 2 of them I frequent all the time. One of them, I've been going since they started. And then the 4th one has just been like a word of mouth place that I kind of want to learn more about. And so I think that's important when you're thinking about sponsorships. Like, is this something that aligns with my brand, with my message, with my mission? Do they align? I think another thing that I want people to get out of for sponsorships is feeling like, oh, what if they say no? A no is the best thing you can get because it gives you ample time to kind of remix maybe what you would have said, maybe what you left out, and you keep going. It's a yes that's going to come in here. So, like, let's say my 4 draft emails, they're like, well, no, actually. Okay, great. Thank you for your time. I'm not going to leave them on scene. I'm not going to not respond and be nasty. Because how do I know a year out? You circle back. And you'll be like, hey, actually, we lied. Let's actually collab, Let's let us sponsor you. And so I think that's where I'm at about sponsorships right now. I do want to be intentional. If and when, especially when they decide to come my way and people do reach out, I am going to be selective. I am going to do their research on them just like I would hope they did on me. And ultimately, I think I'm going to find a good sponsor that is going to work for my podcast, and my podcast could work with their business or, whatever they got going on. But I do think sponsorships are important. It's just, I think in that first year, if you so happen to come up on one, that's great. But I wouldn't make that like I got to get. No, you don't. Yeah. You got to get down what you're doing first. Yeah, so, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Okay. I can agree to that. You know what I'm saying? So what is the mission behind your podcast?
The Pretty Candid Podcast. I would say the mission behind my podcast is to make sure that I'm having real conversations with real people and that it's a safe space for those people that come and have those conversations, even myself. I pride myself on being transparent. So, of course, I want people to come in and do that. And sometimes it's not always easy for people. So, like I said, I always try to make sure it's a safe space. I'm friendly. I'm kind. I try to help in any way that I can. And that kind of seeps out into my podcast as well. So I give advice on how to work through stuff dealing with mental health. I put resources out there. I post about them sometimes so people can find, even when I'm not on air. I think my biggest thing is having a community, right? Yes. And so we could even say like the candid community, right? So things is raw, they real, they honest, but it's also somebody that's here to hold your hand and kind of walk and talk through it with you, and you're not alone. Because I spent time as a woman, growing woman, a young mother too. I don't feel seen as a Black woman. I don't feel heard at work, in my family, wherever. And a lot of people deal with that. And so if I could be the one space that you have and you come into and you get, I want to be that. Okay. And every conversation might not be as we expected, but I can guarantee any conversation I let have in that studio, especially with good intent, it's going to land on the right ears, the right eyes. And so that's my overall, goal and mission for the Pretty Candid Podcast.
So has anybody ever came to you out in the street and was like, I seen you
Like, oh, I know you, a lot, actually.
Okay.
I really be surprised because, sometimes, I'm Marissa every day, and so sometimes, like, I've been out in certain settings, especially, like, in this last summer, I spent a lot of time networking, going to different events, and be like, I know you, and I'm like, the first few times, I'm like, how?
Exactly. You be like,
what you mean?
What was I doing?
Okay, where was we at? And they like, no, the podcast, Pretty Candid. I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. And so it's refreshing to run across people who they know who I am, what I do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've had them where like, oh, you that girl, and I'm like, here we go. Hey, yeah. But 80% of the time, it's people that's like, I know you. Like, I watched your episode, this and the third. And so I like that, like, I am building community, like I said, I am a Black woman born and bred from East Austin. That means the world to me that I've kind of curated and found something that's started off kind of my safe space, but it's kind of become that for everyone, So that's what I love right now, man.
Even if somebody has that like, oh, it's you type of vibe. It's like, you hate me enough to listen to all my stuff.
You know who I am, though. So it's kind of like, thank you, babe.
Exactly.
I appreciate it. I'm not even mad at you.
Exactly.
I'm not even mad at you. So you always gonna get them few experiences where it's like, that's not so favorable, but it happens. But I also feel like it's how you kind of deal with it, and how you decide to press on. So me personally, I decide that is you being shady towards me right now gonna matter in about 5 months. It's not, so you got it. It's cool. You'll 100%. Still watch. Thanks. 100%. So yeah.
So I know, like, you still have a journey to go to get where you want to be. And, of course, you had to, just to get to this moment of people recognizing you when they see you, like, was there, before this, you got here, was there a moment where you would just thought about, like, maybe the podcast thing wasn't going to work out for you?
Yes. A lot of people don't know this. 2024, maybe that, it might have been like that November. No, that August of 2024, I would say I got sick, and I was like, oh no. And then like right before that, I had lost access to my studio. So I was like, okay, I lost access. Then 3 weeks later, I got sick. I said, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to bring this back, and I don't know how this is going to work. And then, upon getting better, getting more healthy, I reached out to the studio I'm at now. They were able to work with me. They're like, yeah, we can still work. Let's figure this out. And a lot of stuff I already had on paper. So at this point, it's just me kind of going about it different. One thing I will say, like I said, is something to be said for divine timing. That first maybe 8 months out of me doing podcasting, I felt like my episodes were good. They were intentional, but I wasn't as selective with guests. I wasn't able to kind of steer the conversation correctly. So it's a lot I learned. And so when I took that pause, even though it was like kind of God sat me down and was like, hold on, baby girl, let's working through stuff through my personal life, and then also able to kind of come back and decide, hey, this is how I'm going to curate this. This is how it's going to go. We're going to come back bigger and better. I think that's what set me up for like the successes I see now and even in the future, so definitely I done been through a couple trials and tribulations, but I can't say that it's nothing I wouldn't have went through to make it to where I'm at now, for sure.
Because every day is always a new problem, right?
Man.
Like, you don't know. Like, when I first got here, you know what I'm saying, the room door locked, I had to go, like, I'm emailing people like, yo.
Hey, I got to get up in here.
I got to get up here. I got to prep for a whole show. You know what I'm saying? I got things I got to do.
Right.
So it's like, we get into the game of podcasting, but we realize that our job is troubleshooting.
Yes, you are the curator, the host, the editor, the everything,
troubleshooting,
personnel, like everything.
So most people don't realize like the struggle it comes to get to where you want to be, especially since nowadays people look for satisfaction instantly.
Yes.
And to me, if you start something and you blow up that first day, I don't think you have that I don't think you are like really appreciative of what you got. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's easier for you to lose it versus working for every inch that you get. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
If it took me a whole year to get 1 million views, it's like, dang.
It's well worth it.
Exactly. But if I get 1 million views my first time, then it's gonna be like my next video, I don't feel like I gotta put in that work or create something. So each video I put out is gonna be less and less views.
Yep.
Because it's like I didn't learn what necessarily worked. You know what I'm saying? I didn't analyze all of
the other factors that go into this.
I just blew up. So it's kind of like the journey is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to, in what you said before, you know, how you bounce back and stuff. It's not the fact that you failed. It's more or less like how you bounce back through all of these incidents that happen. And it kind of defines you as a person.
I think with podcasts too, I think everybody kind of want to go viral. Everybody want to have that mark where it's like, boom, I'm out there now, right? And it's like, in hindsight, that's cool, right? I think sometimes how I tailor it in my mind, because I think when I first started, that's what I wanted, right? I wanted to reach as many people. I got to just reach the right people.
Exactly.
You know, that's really what counts. And so I think that if I was to have something hit 1 million views in that first 3 months, that would actually terrify me for the sense that I'm going to steadily compare it to them first 3 months.
Exactly.
And it's going to be hard, and then I'm going to be defeated, and
distress.
it's all type of things that come up in that process. Whereas if I was to hit 1 million views today, 1 million likes today especially, I would feel like it's well worth it. And to be all the way transparent, I still would feel like I have work to do. Whether it was 1,000, 100, one viewer make me happy. Like, I know somebody seen it. I know somebody was able to speak on it, talk about it, bring it up. Like, I don't really get into the numbers and cloud and all of that. So, yeah, I think it's harder for people to kind of not to rid themselves of that mindset, but it's something that you have to do, you know?
I think what it is really, because like going from 1 to 1 million versus because once you get to 1 million, like I said, if you haven't worked for that 1 million, you're gonna go to 0 real quick.
Real
fast.
Like
financial literacy, right? So I think the moral of the story is success is a formula.
Yes, very much so.
Success is a formula, and you have to have that formula to get to success. And I know there was I listen to a lot of motivational speeches and stuff because, you know, sometimes we need
to hear it.
Yeah, you know, we need that. And that's another question I'm going to get into with you later. But we need that extra push because sometimes, hey, I got the energy to do this right now. And then next thing you know, 5 minutes later or the next day, you know what I'm saying, you kind of feeling down. You like, what am I missing? Like, it's starting to feel overwhelming and stuff, right? So I was listening to, like, Kobe Bryant, and they were talking about how this man, he wasn't like the top athlete. You know what I'm saying? Even in the NBA, it was like his vertical was 30. He's like that's a normal vertical jump for anybody in the league. That's like the basics,
right?
Hey, like you need to at least know how to jump at least 30 vert, right? And they said, well, Kobe, the reason why Kobe was so successful is because he worked harder than everybody. You know what I'm saying? They was like, they had workouts at 6 a.m. and do what somebody would try to be there an hour early to get an hour workout in to before the workout, and Kobe already sweating. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and he's like, and it didn't dawn on me that he was finishing his workout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all started, I'm done.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he would lose a basketball game, and then right after losing that, go work out, go start playing. You know what I'm saying? Shooting the ball consistently. So it's like there's a formula when it comes to success.
Absolutely, I believe that.
And it's not really, and it's a day-to-day formula. It's like as long as you working day-to-day, keeping your mind focused on what you're doing, you're out working and you're out pursuing your competitors or anybody else who's
absolutely
like in the lane. So that's why when I asked you the question earlier, how important is it for collaboration? And it's like, if you don't want to collaborate with me, like 9 times out of 10, you already lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we're collaborating to get better. We're
absolutely
working to get this. And one thing that you're not going to do is outwork me.
Never.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you might as well come collab with me and see how this can work beneficially for both of us.
What's so funny, I just put this on my threads. It was like 3:40 something in the morning. I was like, y'all sleep. And I'm listening to Destiny's Child Fulfill album. I'm editing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm asleep. You know, Christmas morning. No, the day after Christmas, y'all are asleep. It's 7 a.m. I'm up recording my story times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that one moment where you did that little extra, you're going to see that play out over time. So I definitely believe what you're saying. Yeah. I definitely believe it.
So what do you do, like, mentally to prepare, to, like, make sure you give your best self to, like, your podcast in the world? You know what I'm saying?
So, not too many things. So, the day before the pod, right? For one, a lot of times, like I said, it's the preparedness of everything. So, once I've already confirmed my time slot, my guests, all that, a lot of times I already got the topics. It's just me formulating it so I can have it in my mind, right? So, me being prepared is one. But honestly, I make sure that, like, the whole day before, I don't listen to no other podcasts. I'm intentional about the music, everything, because I just don't want anything to alter what I'm already thinking or anything like that. Or I could send the wrong message through communication to my guests, and then it kind of throw everything off. Okay. So I make sure the day before I don't listen to any other podcast, music, keep them minimal, right? So that's 2. The third thing is, I'm a vitamin girly, and I don't know what it is about, like, me being on my vitamins. Remember we was having a conversation about tea? Yeah. I get my tea, my vitamins, or a good little, like, juice blend drink, something just to make me feel good, right? Yeah. And instantly I'm like, oh yeah, baby, we finna kill it. Okay. Like, that's, once I get those 3 things in, and of course I need to rest. So I make sure I have a full 8 hours. It'd be hard sometimes, but at least 7, right? A lot of people don't know this. A lot of times, I'm just getting off of work, going to the studio.
Okay, that's the hustle.
That's the hustle.
That's the hustle.
So either one or 2 things always when I record. Either I just got off at 3, it's now 3:40, I'm about to record, and now I'm going home. Or I just got home, did my baby homework, cooked, got somebody to watch her, going to the studio, and when I get back, I'm gonna leave her clothes out. You know? Yeah. Like, that's kind of how things go. So I always try to make sure that I have at least 2 or 3 things out of the 4 I listed. Like, I gotta have some good rest, no podcast the day before, and I either have to make sure that I have my vitamins or I need my good tea and my juice land drink. Because if not, then I'm kind of like, thrown off my rocker a little bit.
People would be like without coffee.
Yes, exactly.
Meditate?
I do. I tend to meditate Sunday and Monday the most. I just started this new, like, it's like a Bible, right? But it's like third person. So he's more or less talking to you, right? And I make sure I read that every day. It's dated, so they have one for each day of the week. And so as long as I'm keeping up with that and everything mentally, I can stay afloat. I'm good. I have my some singles that I like. I ain't gonna even sit here and lie to y'all like, oh, I'm in the word and I'm gospel.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not, you know, but I can hear more than I can bear some days, and I'm like, okay, I'm good, you know. So I do believe that meditating, praying, that's something that's needed, like right before we got started. And so, yeah, those all combined, I think that's what helps me show up as my best self and make it a good, safe space. And people feel, I think me doing that has made it in return. People can feel it through me and be like, oh, okay, I'm at ease. She good. We're good. So, you know.
What's the last time you hugged a tree?
What's this? This right before Christmas. I actually decided to go to the park. Me and my baby, she believe in getting grounded and all the angel numbers and all that.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was trying to see your reaction on your face when I asked you that, because most people are like, hug a tree.
No. Because let's talk about that. Some people feel like, oh, I'm religious, but I'm not spiritual. Oh, I'm spiritual, not religious. I am a duality girl. I believe that I can have spiritual beliefs and I can still, you know, believe in the word, and I can still go to God and pray and things like that. But I got grounded right before, because, you know, it was right before the first, and I was like, I need to just sitting myself. I've been stressed out, and it was hot around that time. So yeah, we in Miller Park with it, barefoot, and on the way back, and I was like just touching on the tree, and me and my baby just holding on, and she like, oh, so at peace. Like, she's dramatic, she's so funny, but no, I have no shame at all,
because like it's not even necessarily through a biblical standard,
right?
Like, even science shows that we are made from dirt. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important for us to get grounded. It's very important for us to be in nature.
Okay, get that sun.
Yes,
you need that sun.
Yes, like you need that vitamin D.
Hello,
you know what I'm saying?
And we got that melanin. We really need it.
we need that. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny that I'm actually like impressed. You know
Impressed. Like, you thought I didn't know.
Hey, I be asking people tons of questions just to see. Because like I said, we all are our collective minds. So sometimes you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes you be like, what I need to go outside.
What about
for?
a tree?
Like,
why would I hug a tree?
Because we don't know it's good for us. You know what I'm saying? Because even I can't even say that. Like, I probably know this information for about a year or two. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like it's our job to inform,
to teach.
It's like,
absolutely.
And that's why I say that's another bonus for Austin, because we're probably the only city in this area that kind of supports the outdoor.
It's so many Pilates in the park. It's so many like ground meetings and stuff like that. So just FYI, if you ever do feel like I kind of want to be in community, this is literally the place for that.
Exactly.
So I think you're right.
So that's like one of the benefits of Austin.
For sure.
As a community. Because Dallas, you don't get none of that. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Houston, it just depends.
It's iffy.
Yeah, it depends.
It's iffy. You got to catch them during the week.
Exactly.
Because we partying on Wednesdays. So you got to catch me.
And it's crazy because it's not. Have you ever been in New York?
No.
It's bad out there. Concrete jungle, man.
I think I would lose my mind because I like open spaces and all of that.
I do too. But it's crazy because I like the atmosphere better than I did LA. You know what I'm saying?
I don't. I'm a water person though.
I am too.
So, what's your sign?
I don't believe in that.
What?
I don't believe in that.
The reason I ask is because there's a chart. So you're right. You're not just one sign.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. When your birthday?
January 5th.
Oh, you a Capricorn?
Huh?
You a Capricorn?
A what?
You a Sagittarius?
I'm Terrence.
Wait.
I'm Terrence, but
okay.
I'm Terrence, but in the form
astrology world,
is Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay.
Look,
I know you know. He's like, don't start that.
I'm not labeled.
No, I feel that. I feel that. Okay.
But damn, you made me forget what I was talking about. Look at you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember what was the whole point of
We were talking about nature.
Nature, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Open spaces. New York does not have that.
So New York, like I said, I love the atmosphere because my cousins, my mama's sister, my mama and my aunties came here, but a few of her sisters went to New York. So I have cousins out there in Brooklyn. So I went out there to visit them, and like every building, like you wouldn't be able to tell. It's like being on North Austin and feeling like you're downtown. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
Yeah. So that's how everything was, and it's like if you had any view that you had, you was paying money to have that view.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I know it's a deficit of sunlight out there when you're out there too. How tall the buildings are, and it's like first thing I thought about was like, in a crisis, this would be the worst place to be in.
Absolutely.
It's like a maze. It's like we all running.
I can't.
Everybody coming together. It's like it don't matter what the heck's after us. We all got. You know what I'm saying? So
it's no good.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be out there because of that. But as far as like the atmosphere, it was a little bit. I would say, I hate to use the word friendly because nobody out there is necessarily friendly, but they were a little bit more open to when I went to LA. You know what I'm saying? And it could just be a mind experience, you know what I'm saying? Because I never, like, as of now, I want to go back to New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to stay there. And I said,
oh no.
But I would like to go back to New York. I've never felt like going back to LA. See,
and like LA, I went to LA like a little bit before the pandemic, or it was like a little bit after. So my experience was a little, right? And so, but I went to Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
Long Beach completely different.
Isn't that like Crip City?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't with the Crips. I wasn't with the Crips. It is. But I will say, I tried to take that out. You ain't caught me off guard until you said that. But I will say, right, Long Beach, on the other side,
Yeah.
I do feel like the people are friendly. They're not fake. Yeah. It's not a persona city, you know. Everything just seems more lively, but also still relaxed at the same time. Yeah. And it's near the water. So I think for me, Long Beach worked, but like Gardena, LA, Carson City, Culver City, I mean, yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. So if I was to go back to California, I think I would either be Long Beach, or also maybe San Diego or Santa Monica.
See, I heard good things about San Diego.
San Diego's beautiful.
I heard good things about it. So
beautiful.
I would probably choose San Diego too, because I was born in Miami, Florida. You know
oh, okay.
And
come on, Dade County.
Yeah, and I would like my dad still lived there. My rest her soul, but my nana, she passed away December 1st last year, so I got her for a funeral. And that's the reason why I started looking up origin stories and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I still got a good side of family that's over there in Miami.
Yeah.
Me personally, I probably would never. I'm not gonna say never move to Florida, but to move to Miami, I'd rather move to Fort Lauderdale before I move to Miami. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's crazy? I done been to Miami 3 times. It's never crossed my mind to move there. That's not somewhere I would want to live.
It's like
the politics down there too.
Politics, the atmosphere is too fast. Like
it's a little too fast.
Like and it's crazy because I never want to. I hate talking down on people, whatever. But I was with my family too, and it just shows the different like the atmosphere, right? So, like I said, nothing against my family or anything, but we had a party and. Only thing I can think about is my niece, right? At that moment in time. So my niece here, like, love them. So I'm sitting there and the girls dancing. You know what I'm saying? It's a party. It's like Thanksgiving because once again my nana, she on her deathbed and we Thanksgiving and stuff.
Right.
Grown ups dancing and stuff, and they got the little girl twerking.
No.
I'm talking about she had to be like 2 or 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? They like, yeah, do it like mama do it. And the only thing I can think about is my niece. And I was like, if my niece was at that, I would have snatched her little tail.
Yeah.
Like, girl, get your, like.
Right.
And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why are you, like.
Encouraging that.
All the stuff going on, like, yes, that's a style of dance. That's a style of music. I would never shame any woman from doing it. But it's like, let her keep her innocence.
Please.
As long as possible, because you're teaching her that shit now as if there's not a whole bunch of predators in this world. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like I look at the atmosphere of certain areas and it's like I wouldn't necessarily want to raise a family out there.
I do think in Florida you do have to kind of grow up fast depending on where you at, you know.
And I don't even think it's where it's if you're in that atmosphere, you're gonna have to prepare for it because because you can't control who your kid go to school with. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it don't matter if you're in that atmosphere. That's what you have to prepare for. So it would be easier. That's why it's so much easier to raise a family in Austin. You know what I'm saying? Because, which I'm not saying Austin don't do the stuff that goes on in Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio.
Right.
But in those areas, it's worse. You know what
True.
I'm saying? So it's like you have to be cautious of what your kid goes into. You have to make sure, like, your kid don't have to be streetwear in Austin.
That's true.
When you go to Houston and Dallas or San Antonio,
they gotta have it on.
It like, bro, you need to know your surroundings.
Yeah.
I don't care if that nigga walking with you. You need to know he walking behind you. You need to know who's walking beside you. You need to, like, if something going off over there, you need to walk the opposite direction. You need to be aware of what's going on.
True.
Also, you be here la 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 like.
I feel like you can la la la, and see, I'm an Austinite, so I think my view is a little different. I feel like you can la 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 for a little bit, but I do feel like here, it's not so much you having to tell your kids to watch their back, it's you teaching them how to have social interactions with people who don't look like them.
And that's what I was gonna get into too, because here you have to have that conversation more about race.
Yes, and fast.
Yeah. Versus everywhere else.
Yeah, everywhere else it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, and there's a lot of you there. I didn't have my first black teacher till I was in high school, and he was a coach.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So I never really had. Perfect example. My mom's a teacher. She's been teaching for 23 years now, right? Mm-hmm. My baby first black teacher was her grandmother because they was at the same school. How historic is that, right? Yeah. Because that's never going to happen again. You might not ever have another black teacher. You know what I'm saying? So here in Austin, I feel like the conversations about the divide with race, knowing how to handle yourself when you get challenged by them folks, that's something I feel like here that's more prominent than it might be in Houston, than it might be in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're absolutely right.
And it's crazy you say that because not my next interviewer, but an interviewer that I'm hoping schedule with me soon. She is a teacher. So she's a model, but right now she's teaching, if I remember properly, at Round Rock High School.
Ooh, that's interesting. Probably.
Yeah, very interesting.
I gotta tune into that.
Yeah, for sure. That's gonna be hype. But okay, so. Last and final question. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hold you up too long. I know we've been up.
I know, it's been fun though. Yeah.
So where do you see the Pretty Candid Podcast going in 3 years?
Ooh, 3 years, right? In 3 years, I see the podcast still growing, right? Still very intentional, still very much real talk, real connection. But I do see myself delving into other things with the podcast, or maybe even without, more so in communications, other media, even expanding the podcast into different formats, stuff like that. Currently, I'm already working on just entrepreneur, artist spotlights, story times, my own pod. So maybe I'm thinking of doing other things I haven't announced yet. Okay. But overall, in the next 3 years, I see myself really being one of those ones, you know what I mean? Like very, and let me say this, when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, I'm popping now, oh, I'm viral now. But will I be landing on more audiences, reaching the people who need to hear me? Absolutely. I think nothing but up for the Pretty Candid Podcast for sure.
So do you want to stay like the podcast type vibe, or do you want to go like the Wendy Williams, Oprah type vibe?
I think that if it presents itself, right, I think I'm always love podcasting. I'm always make sure I got my hand in it, right? Yeah. But I do think that if I ever was to have the opportunity, or if and when, to kind of go talk show, more media, right, I think that I wouldn't turn it down. I think I would kind of cultivate it into how I want to, how I've done the pod. Yeah. But I can see that for myself. I can see myself doing that.
I can see it too, because you don't know. Once again, you don't know your writing history until it is, right? So you don't have to necessarily be the first host, woman host, black host in the world, but you can become the first in Austin.
The first in Austin.
You know what I'm saying? You can be the first, black host podcaster in Austin that went big, that got on that level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
it can happen.
And it brings community out here.
You know I will say this too, just FYI, I feel like if I was to ever reach those type of heights, right, I gotta pour it back into the city.
Of course. Like, I mean, that's automatic.
Black Austin especially, like, we need that.
Don't worry, in a few more years there won't be Black Austin. It will be gentrified white Austin.
Look, I'm still gonna stick with my Black Austin, because you know that's the debate they be having. Oh, where are all the black people in Austin?
Of course. And it's crazy because there is a lot of us.
There's a lot of us out here.
My thing is the reason why that question is about, I feel like, in my own opinion, I could be wrong or not. I feel like most of the black people in Austin aren't from Austin, and that's why we have that barrier, because since most of us aren't from Austin, we don't know necessarily where to go. We don't know where to find community. I feel like we all come out here trying to figure out, hey, where's all the black people? But it's like none of us are from here.
I think that's true to a certain degree, right? I think the biggest, in my opinion, right, I feel like when it's people that are out of towners, because I do say we did have a big influx of people from that are black that came for tech. They came from years ago, from Katrina, all type of things, right? But I think some of it is that people are coming from somewhere else, and there's a lot of comparison when it comes to Austin. Because like we said, sometimes it could be a couple weeks of events and it feel like Houston out here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just feel like regular old Austin. And so I think sometimes when you, if and when you come down here, and if you're steadily comparing us to another vibe, you're not gonna meet community. It's Black Girls Austin, it's Auntie's House, one of the most cultivated, curated black events ever. It's Black Texas Life. It's all these different spaces, right? And I do get how I've been out here 5 months. I got 3 black coworkers at work. A couple maybe in my building, but I don't see them all the time. How do I find y'all? Just like you research anything else,
Exactly.
please research, because we out here, as long as you are not trying to compare this city to another city, you gonna make it. You gonna find your people. Again, Austin is a friendly city in the sense of, I feel like we are about community, especially us, black and brown. I feel like we want to see those faces. Like, I have to give a lot of credit to those people who are like us, who kind of decided, like, I'm tired of hearing about that. I want to figure something out. And they're now creating those spaces for us to visit, for us to frequent. Sometimes, do you got to pay a ticket? Yeah. Sometimes, is it free? Yeah. But the more you kind of cultivate yourself around community and research, I feel like if you are like not an Austinite, you could quickly find yourself around those people that you want to be around. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about perspective, you know. So, but I kind of get what you're saying too, because it's like, if I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah,
you know. So, but there's ways to know.
Yes,
you know?
there are ways to know.
If y'all see me on here, feel free to be like, hey, you said I could. I bet you I find you 3 events for the month. Let's do it. You know. So, definitely.
And I want to thank you again for coming out here and talking with us.
No problem.
We do appreciate the time. So, for people who don't know you, can you let us know how to find you on your social media?
Yes.
Whatever. You know.
Yes, I am at the Pretty Candid Podcast _ on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere, the Pretty Candid Podcast. If you want to follow me personally, just kind of be in my business, which I allow, at Marissa Nicole on Instagram and on TikTok. So you can find me pretty much everywhere by the Pretty Candid Podcast.
We most definitely will be in your business.
Yes.
So.
And I don't mind it. I allow it.
Right,
but no, thank you for having me, and good luck to you.
All right. Love
This was great.